Hello, welcome to Traffic Committee meeting for the 21st of March. My name is Michael Rayner. I'm the Senior Traffic Engineer for Winch Carriby Council. Also on the Traffic Committee today, we have Sean Robinson, who's the Manager of Assets for Winch Carriby Council, Chief Inspector Brendan Burney, obviously from the police, the representative for the member of Wallandilly, Peter Edwards, representative for the member of Goulburn, Catherine Woods, Administration Assistant for Winch Carriby Council, Elizabeth de Graaf, Representative for Transport for New South Wales, Ankit Bengele, Road Safety Officer for Winch Carriby Council, Brian Speed, and joining online later will be Inspector Lee Meyer from Police and Senior Constable Hayley Upton from the Police, and also Luke Lucas from Berrima Bus Lines. So I'll start with welcome for country, acknowledgement of country, sorry. Winch Carriby Shire Council acknowledges the Gundungurra and Dharawal people as the traditional custodians of this land we now call the Winch Carriby Shire. I pay my respect to elders both past, present and emerging. Would also like to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders present here today. I don't think we have any apologies today. I think everybody's here. Adoption of the minutes from previous meeting. I think that was all okay. Declarations of interest in anything today? No? Not good. Okay. So the first part of this meeting, I'll go through the agenda items, and it's a public participation component of Traffic Committee, so people are able to speak to the items, to the Traffic Committee, before we go into closed committee and discuss everything in more detail. So agenda items today. Shepherd Street Barrel roadwork and signage and line marking plan for proposed subdivision. Nobody has indicated they want to speak to that today. Marketplace Berrima, so proposed parallel parking. We have Fran Ma from the Berrima Residents Association who would like to speak to this item. So Fran, if you'd like to come down and speak about that.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to address the committee. My name is Frances Meyer and I'm the recently elected Vice President of the Berrima Residents Association. At the outset, could I have recorded our appreciation to Michael Rayner. Michael is in constant communication with the BRA when a matter concerning the village comes before him. He is acutely aware of the heritage implications of any decision this committee makes and is cognisant of the Development Control Plan that governs everything that happens in Berrima. Today I'd like to speak to three matters, items 6.4, 6.5 and 6.6. Do you just want me to do the 6.4?
What I can do is I'll just introduce the other two items and then you can just speak to each one. Okay. So 6.4 is proposed parallel parking, which I just spoke about. 6.5 is upgrade to existing bus stop to better delineate the bus parking at Marketplace in Berrima. And 6.6 is proposed parking arrangements on Argyle Street, Berrima, to remove some no stopping and loading zone. So you can address all of those if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Well, item 6.4, the parallel parking. If you look at the notes that were distributed on the agenda, image 1 clearly shows a very large gravel area immediately upon exiting the bridge, travelling north over the Winch Carriby River and opposite the amenities block in the Marketplace. A tree is clearly visible to the forefront. This tree was once within the road reserve, but given a lack of roadside posts and a defined line edge to the road, this tree now appears and does sit in the middle of the road, It has one small reflector on its trunk and is extremely difficult to see at night. It does pose a significant safety risk. We have discussed this at length with Michael, and he discussed the removal of that tree with Charlene Ferguson, but it was denied, I believe, on heritage grounds. The Berrimah Residents Association supports the removal of the tree if it is to remain isolated and a traffic hazard. After discussions with Michael, it was proposed that extra roadside indicators could be placed to define the road edge coming off the bridge, which would prevent vehicles taking this shortcut. Due to the heritage nature of Berrimah, timber posts would be preferable. Michael also suggested that the lined edge, which is now quite faded, be relined when the Wollongong markers were next in the Highlands. This would follow the original line of the bitumen and then turn and continue into Marketplace, reincorporating the offending tree into the road reserve again. We are awaiting this action. Image 2 shows the proposed parallel parking signs to be erected. One immediately outside the History Museum. The second one is sited in an extremely dangerous location that leaves the tree in question totally isolated in the centre of the road and even more of a hazard than it already is. I grant it's difficult to see this from the bird's eye view in image 2, but if you go back to image 1, you can work out where that parallel parking sign has been indicated to be put in, and it's well behind that tree. So this parallel parking sign needs to be brought forward in line with the tree so it gets incorporated back into the reserve. The BRA requests a third sign to be erected in Bryan Street to indicate a continuation of parallel parking. If the road geometry, as suggested in the report, prevents standard reverse manoeuvring in Marketplace, then the same would logically apply to Bryan Street, which is even a more narrow road. And I think in the diagram there in image 2, she's actually got cars nosed in there. But if it's not possible to do it in Marketplace, it certainly isn't possible to do it in Bryan Street. So we are asking for parallel parking to continue right around from Marketplace all the way through Bryan Street. This would provide consistent and orderly parking and preserve the green verge that's there. So in conclusion, the BRA supports the implementation of the parallel parking, but we ask that the location of sign 2 be reviewed and a third sign added in Bryan Street. We also ask this to be done in conjunction with new road side indicators coming off the bridge and a new line defining the road edge to guide motorists into the Marketplace. We have been discussing this with Michael for the last 6 months. 6.5 is the upgrade of the existing bus stop to a bus zone on the old Hume Highway. Whilst this bus zone is used by Berrimah Bus Line's rural village services, by far the greater use is by tourist coaches pulling in off the Hume Highway to use the amenities in the Marketplace. Berrimah is probably the most visited small village in the Highlands by tourists due to its proximity to a highway, and many commercial companies make use of this convenient stop-off. The Berrimah Bus Line's use of this bus stop is documented on page 28. However, the private coach use has not been identified or documented. As a resident who lives directly opposite the Marketplace, I can attest to the very heavy use by the tourist coaches. Midweek, it attracts up to 7 buses daily, often simultaneously, of school children on excursions to Canberra. This is organised by Macquarie Educational Tours and subcontracted to many and varied bus companies. Whilst most of the buses are illegally parked in the 45-degree angle parking on the old Hume Highway and in Jalor Street, the existing bus zone is always used first. It would accommodate 2 coaches. Other buses just pull in where they can. The Traffic Committee approved and installed no stopping signs along the length of Bryan Street last year, precisely to give those buses having to park in Jalor Street room to negotiate this narrow road, and it has made it a lot safer. However, on weekends, tourist coaches are constantly seeking parking. The current bus zone is not enforceable over the weekends. This needs to be rectified, and the bus zone needs to be available 24/7, especially in the light of the February traffic meeting, agreeing to remove the only other bus stop in Lower Berrimah at the request of Cars and Coffee in order to create more available parking for their event. During weekends, there is now no legal designated parking for tourist coach buses. The BRA supports the proposal put forward. It's essential this bus zone remains, that it is clearly and correctly signposted, but most importantly, that it is upgraded to a 24/7 facility. 6.6 is changes to parking arrangements on Argyle Street outside the jail. The BRA supports this upgrade. Last year, a dossier of repairs and upgrades to signage and roads was presented to Council. This was one of the items, and we thank the traffic engineers for attending to it. It will create 7 to 8 more car spaces in close proximity to the village shops and the courthouse. The jail ceased to be a functioning correctional centre in 2020. The restrictive measures were for security purpose but have held no relevance since, and we welcome the adjustment. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for that. Okay. Next item on the agenda today we'll be speaking about the roundabout at the intersection of Yarra Road and Spencer Street. Item 6.9, looking at including a 4-hour parking at the new facilities and play area at car park at Bonbon Common. 6.10, a 15-tonne load limit on East Parade in Buxton. And 6.11 is the Day in the Green. That's intended vignettes to be held on the 28th of April. So what we'll do now as committee, we'll go into closed committee. We'll discuss all of these items, and at the end, come back onto live stream and tell you our decisions. So for now, we'll go into closed session and end the public participation part of this.